Welcome, witches and magical kindreds. I'm Kim. This is my channel, The Way of the Witch. Today I'm going to share my new Book of Shadows, the September Harvest Moon pages. In my last Book of Shadows video, I created 3 pages, a cover page, a title page, and a section title page. During this video, you'll see me working on my Harvest Moon pages. These are the pages that I created during the month of September. This includes a seasonal about page, a working altar spread, an Ancestor's Lineage and message spread, a How to Bind Limiting Beliefs page, and an Exploring Alternate Timelines spread. I also created a little Harvest Moon painting. So typically my process is the same. I will use photos that I take or images from Canva that I use a lot to transfer into my Book of Shadows onto the page. And the reason I like to use transfer paper is so that, number one, I can practice with the layout of how I want things to lay on the page, but also this paper is really finicky about erasing. So using transfer paper, I'm able to at least get a basic outline laid down without having to go through a lot of erasing like I would typically do in a sketchbook. So for the working altar page, I took photos of my altar and created individual images on this page, and then I called to mind correspondences, feelings that make sense to me. I mean, I know that water corresponds to west and to autumn. I know that fire corresponds to south and summer. So these things I don't necessarily feel I need to put into this Book of Shadows. I have other books of shadows with, basic lists and correspondences. As I said before, I want this to be a very experiential Book of Shadows, so the things that I'm creating pages for are magical workings that I am doing during that moon. For this seasonal about page, I found a quote from one of my current teachers, a woman that I work with, Danielle Dulski, and I wanted to use it because it perfectly captures the feeling of the season of the orphaned moon. And you can find out more about Danielle in the links I will list below in the description box. For this Ancestors page, I wanted to make it very special. So I did put an image, paint in an image along the bottom. And then I planned to add the lineage map that I had previously worked on. I wanted to add it to this Book of Shadows. I also wanted to add the message that I received from my ancestors for the harvest moon. And I also wanted to incorporate a practice of using thread. I have a couple of spools of 100% silk thread, one in a red, one in a light blue, and one in a navy. And I like to work with thread magic or string magic. And for this spread, it felt right to sew the pages with the thread, and all the while thinking about the threads of fate and how our ancestors and our destiny often weave together. And here I'm just adding some of the ancestral incense blend that I had made during this season into the pages. I like to be able to have that scent come to me when I open to this page. And here I'm creating that lineage map I spoke about earlier. I did a lot of ancestor path working during September and likely will continue through October. 'Tis the season. For this map, though, I added imagery and symbols that I received during the path working, as well as other like mundane notes, like names and astrological signs, etc. So in a practice that is new to me, it's a monthly tarot reading, messages from my loving ancestors. So for the harvest moon, I used my future ancestor tarot. I burned a little of the ancestor incense and made an offering and asked for a very clear message and pulled 3 cards. So I wrote those messages on this page. This is a practice I look forward to continuing. For the next page, I decided to create a simple harvest moon painting, and I went against the color palette that I had said I was going to use for this book of shadows. I brought in some purple and deep magenta, so, you know, so much for best laid plans, right? This is an easy painting. I just used some gouache. I taped off the edges. I taped down a circle for the moon, and then I just watered down some purple gouache and painted in the sky, and then watered down some magenta and painted in the land, or close to the land. And actually I used black because I want this, of course, to be in moonlight shadow to denote some sort of harvesty looking plants that I kind of just made up. After it dried, I pulled off the washi tape and painted in the moon and the stars. And that was that. On the other side of this page, I created a page called How to Bind Limiting Beliefs, working with dismembering our limiting beliefs. So if you have a vision of where you want to be and you look at why you can't get there, perhaps those are limiting beliefs that you can then work to bind and dismember. This harvest moon, I'm asking, what am I reaping? What am I grateful for? And in this season of autumn, what am I releasing? What am I grieving? I'm grateful for this place, its infinite beauty and the feelings of peace and joy and harmony. And I'm grieving the loss of everything that came before this harvest. And another spread that I created, I did some work exploring alternate timelines, looking at past lives, and I wanted to create a page around that and the 3 lives that I was able to connect with. So I wrote out some of the key ideas that I sourced through that ritual and drew out some of the symbols. I will end up adding to all of these pages, these spreads, little notes and other details I just didn't have a chance to put in yet, but I will be revisiting these and adding more layers to them. It's really interesting creating a book of shadows in this way. I'm trying not to let the pages or the creation of a page be the thing, because I want the thing to be my practice, what it is I'm doing every day. You know, the way of the witch. What am I doing? And I want to record that in this book of shadows so that when I come around the wheel again, I can see what I did in the past, know what works for me, and build upon that. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on this book of shadows. And here's a peek at what I've done so far. I look forward to these videos each moon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you were inspired in some way. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so, so much. Without you, I couldn't keep making these videos. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.